again. Today is Tuesday, July 21st, 2020. The time being 7 p.m., the meeting of the Board of Zoning Appeals is called to order. At this time, please silence all electronic devices if you've not done so already. To comply with Title VI of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, the city requests that participants in this meeting complete a voluntary anonymous survey that is available on the table in the back of the room. At this time, if everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
John, if you call roll, please.
Roy?
Present.
Steve? Present. Matt?
Present.
Phil?
Here. Present.
At this time, we need to approve the minutes for last month, June 16th of 2020. Does anybody have any changes that need to be made? There are no changes?
I make a motion that we approve the minutes from the June 16th, 2020 meeting. Second.
With Roy making a motion to approve the minutes and Philip seconding those. What's the verbiage there, Chris? Those are
Just all in favor.
okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed.
All opposed? New business. Mark Carmon, 409 South Broadway, requesting variance for setbacks. Sarah?
Okay, before Mark comes up, I'm gonna explain a couple things here real quick. Last month, as you all know, the variance that Mark and Susan had requested at 409 South Broadway was tabled. Letters were sent out before the meeting last month to surrounding neighbors. And we did get an adjacent neighbor the day before the meeting last month that had sent a letter that I believe you all saw, should be in your book. And they agreed to table it to this month. And she wanted to get some more information from Mr. Carmon and about the addition and that kind of thing. At that time, she had said to Mark, and if I say this wrong, Mark will clarify it when he comes up, but that neither of them had a survey of the property, and that's what she would want, to be able to obtain that information before she would give her blessing or move forward. So I had called Mark I think it was one day last week, just to make sure, see if he got the survey done, so on and so forth, yes. And to make sure everything was in order for this evening. I got a phone call yesterday from the adjacent property owner, stating she hadn't heard anything, hadn't seen a survey, that kind of thing. I was in contact with Mark then. I believe that the survey was emailed to her. She was to go last evening and meet with Mark Carmon, and at his house he had some things staked to where the additions were going to be, according to where the property line is, that kind of thing. And they didn't come because she said because the surveyor hasn't flagged it or staked it or pinned it or anything, they, didn't want to proceed. So I put before you the letter from the adjacent property owner. You can read it, or if you would like me to read it to you, I can, so it can be recorded in the minutes, or however you want to do that.
How do we need to handle that, Chris? Does it need to be read?
I was gonna say, it's up to you guys. I mean, it's in the record
As a document?
you can put it in the record as a document, or you can ask her to read it out loud.
You know what, Sarah, just because of what we've gone through in the last few months, why don't we just go ahead and read it? Just
Okay.
So everybody's aware.
Okay. It's dated for yesterday's date, July 20th, 2020, to whom it may concern. Dear City of Greensburg Board of Zoning Appeals, back in July, I expressed my concern on where the property lines were concerning the property at 409 South Broadway in Greensburg, in which the variance is being requested. Mr. Mark Carmon and I discussed the fact that neither of us had a survey and one would need to be obtained before we could move forward. As of this day, Mark has let me know that he does not have a copy of a survey to allow me to see. He stated he has had a survey conducted, but the surveyor has not placed any flags, pins, or stakes on the property and is planning to do that at a later date. Being an Indiana certified real estate appraiser since 1982, I have been involved in hundreds of properties being surveyed, and I must say I have never heard of a surveyor returning again to the property with their equipment to place stakes, flags, and or pins later. When the surveyor returns and stakes off the property, my husband and I will be more than happy to meet with Mark at the property to view the property lines. Until that time, we do not feel anything has changed from the June request to determine the property lines by a survey. We respectfully ask that this be tabled until time the survey is completed. We are able to view it at the property. Thank you, Pastor Don L. Barnes.
Thanks,
So you also received a copy of the survey, and I believe that the adjacent property owner was emailed to her yesterday. It very well shows out the lines, the measurements from the property lines and that kind of thing. So with that being said, I will let Mark and.
Sarah, real quick,
oh.
could you show us on the map here what everything is? I'm sorry.
Yes.
This is Mark.
Okay, let me turn this. Okay, so,
Anybody else there?
hang on. No, I'm turned the right way now. So her house is right here. Her property is 1.4 feet in the front corner from the property line. This back corner is 1.9 feet from the property line. This is Mr. Carmon and Susan's house, and this is the addition right here, okay? With the addition, he would be 3.9 feet from the property line. And the other addition is here, which would put him 5.9 feet from the property line. Okay, so basically, his additions, he's gonna be further away from the property line than her whole house is. Does anybody else need that shown to them? Okay. Any other questions for me before I have them come up?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mark, if you could just state your name and address for the record, please.
Mark Carmon and Susan Murphy, 409 South Broadway Street, Greensburg.
Thank you.
I'm Andy Sholey, I'm the surveyor that conducted the survey.
Do I have any questions for him?
Does everyone understand the survey?
Yeah,
I mean,
very self-explanatory.
I printed some more copies, highlighted some things. Actually, John Barnes' house is actually about 1.2 feet into the city's right of way on 4th Side Street. No stakes have been set yet. I've been in seminars the last 2 days, and I wanted to consult with Mark on his south boundary line before we went out there and set stakes in case he wanted to talk to the neighbor. The fence on the south line was a little bit, it's not straight with the current property lines. The letter presented to you guys tonight said that she's never heard of a surveyor going back to the property. My line of work, we always make 2 trips, if not 3 or 4 trips to properties. And setting the stakes is always the last thing. So I don't set the final stakes until I consult with my client to make sure that, he is getting what he needs. And at this point, I thought this drawing, you could easily measure off of some of these building corners and see where that property line was if she had other concerns. So.
The fence line that is back there where we are currently across the property line, we do plan to remedy that. The little mini shed that's back there now that is going to be taken down, I'll be replacing it with a new one, and it will set it back further away from the property line than where it's currently at. So anything that's over the property line right now will be remedied.
Is that little mini barn, is that what's over the line right there, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I have a mini barn here, and then there's a little, this section right here is a wooden structure that I added on to give me a little more room. Actually, it was a doghouse at one time, and it was big enough after my dog passed away that I could close it in, I put my lawnmower in. So now, with the plans that we have, that will be taken down, and my new shed will be moved over further to the south.
And you're gonna fix that fence deal or?
Yes, I'm in full intentions of, I will do whatever I can to remedy anything that's across the property line. We did a straight shot when we put up, several years ago, probably 15 years ago, we put a chain link fence up, and I did a straight shot from an existing short stretch of a chain link that was there, did a straight shot back to the back corner, and that's where I put the chain link. Well, when we took the chain link down and put the privacy fence up, I just put it back in the same spot. And not realizing we were across the line, we didn't do a survey at that time, just where I had always mowed. I've lived there for almost 21 years, and Susan owned the house 5 years prior to me moving in, and that's where we've always mowed. Dawn's mowing crew has never mowed that section, so under my assumption, it was my property. That's why I set the fence where I did when I set the chain link.
Does anybody from the audience have any questions, anything? Any other board members, any questions? Chris helped me through this, but if there are no more questions, then I
I would say if there are no more questions, you can entertain a motion to approve,
Okay.
or however you, I mean,
Okay.
whichever way you want to go.
If there are no more questions, I would make it, entertain a motion to approve Mr. Carmon's variance as requested.
I'll make a motion to approve it as requested with the contingency on it that the fence will be moved and the building will be moved. And the new building will be constructed and or set back to normal property setbacks.
Yes.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, I want to make sure I understand the motion. So the motion is that you're approving it with the requirements that the fence line be moved to the property line,
Yes.
that the building that encroaches on the other property be remedied so that it is no longer encroaching, and that new building that is not part of the addition be set back per standard ordinances.
Got it.
Okay.
If the new building is portable, is it gonna be a portable
Yes.
shed?
It's portable.
Does it require to meet setbacks, cause it's very tight, and there's only 21 feet in the rear of that property?
That's zero lot line.
So if it's portable, I always thought it was a zero lot
Yes.
line, cause you could be.
Right.
Yeah.
That's my
If it's
understanding.
portable.
Right.
It's not
It's-
just
it's-
a permanent foundation.
Right.
It's not a permanent foundation. And if the timeline of when I'm gonna be able to do that just depends on how quickly I can get the funds to do that. I mean, I have full intentions of doing it. It's just this addition's gonna cost me $32,000. And I'm looking at, it may be next summer before I can do a shed, but it will be remedied, absolutely.
The old one will be taken down.
Yes.
The fence will.
Yes, yes,
Right away.
yes.
Because, maybe some ill feelings with this.
I just don't want him to have to put a new portable shed to meet a 6 or 8 foot setback. I don't.
Yeah, I would say my recommendation to you on wording of your motion would be to motion to approve it with under the condition that the fence line be moved and that the current encroaching shed be removed or moved so that it's no
Yeah.
longer encroaching.
Just eliminate the old building.
Is there a timeline on, how, am I looking at a month to do that? Am I looking at, I need to do that next week?
What, Sarah, do you have a recommendation for that, or?
I would, I can give you time, I don't have a problem issuing time. I would probably get that remedied sooner than later.
Okay.
You don't have to get your new building,
Tell the boss that.
oh, you don't have to get the new building in place, but get the other one moved or taken down,
Okay.
adjust the fence line. Then there.
And Mark, once Andy puts his final stakes in, I mean, you'll know exactly where to go at that point.
Right.
So,
I mean, you know, I would say a month to get, is that, I don't know, I'll ask you guys if you think that's fair, is
I was even thinking longer than that, I don't know.
2 months?
Been encroaching for all these years, so
Yeah.
it's.
That particular part of the shed wasn't once part of the chain link fence.
Arguably, if the fence line had been there for 20 years, there's at least an argument that it's his fence line now. I mean, that's, so I mean, I don't wanna get into a quiet title debate here in your board of zoning appeals, so I would say 60 days ought to be
I think
sufficient.
that's sufficient, yeah.
That's perfect.
Okay.
That gives me plenty of time.
Okay, let me read that motion.
Let's do that. Yeah.
I'll make the motion to approve the additions to the house at the current setbacks that he has listed here. To remove the existing fence and existing mini barn and be relocated, those fences be relocated on the property line within 60 days.
I'll still second.
John, would you call roll, please?
Roy,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Phil.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Being that there is no more business,